The City of Phoenix holds community budget hearings throughout April, allowing residents to comment and make suggestions on the city manager's trial budget before final decisions are made. This public discussion is among the reasons the city's budget so closely matches the community's highest priorities each fiscal year.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate the efforts and the time that you've decided to come out to visit us and to look at our budget hearing that we have today. My name is Sal DeCiccio. I'm on the Phoenix City Council. I represented District 6, now going on my second term, and it's one of the best, if not the very best district to represent. A lot of the issues I've been pushing at the City of Phoenix are dealing with fiscal reform and things that bring in fiscal accountability to our city. And we're going to be talking today about the budget. I'm going to turn Karen Peters next, but let me walk through a couple things. Those of you with city staff, if you could raise your hand. If we could start in the back of the room, if you can introduce yourselves, just briefly who you are and what department. I want to make sure I do that so that everybody sees and hears everyone's with the city. Now, were you with the city as well?
I am. My name is Libby Forte. I actually work here at Pecos Community Center up in the parks.
Okay, if we want to start over here.
Mike Francis, Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
Chris Steinfire with Street Transportation.
And George Maynard, he's with my office. If we can go back there. Go ahead.
I'm Taylor Ryan. I'm with the Phoenix Public Library.
Okay.
I'm Denise Olson with the Finance Department.
Aaron Gillen with Research. Rick Wilson with ITS. Good evening, Ray Anderson, Phoenix Fire. Vernon Vasquez, Water Services, Wastewater Collection.
John Collins, Phoenix Police Department, Softball Precinct.
Ron Stereo with the Water Services Department.
I haven't seen you in a while, Ron. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Go ahead.
Chuck Hansbrough, Public Works Department.
Hank Marshall, Community and Economic Development.
Irene Larkin with Aviation. I am Pat Nightingale. I'm with the Human Services Department.
Jeff Williams, ITS.
Titus Matthews with Housing.
I'm David Urbanato. I'm the PIO for the City Council.
Okay. Mayor's office.
I'm Nicole Pastor. I'm with the Mayor's office.
Okay.
Mario Paniago, Budget Research.
Karen Peters, City Manager's office.
And you're about to hear from Karen as well. For those of you that would like to comment on the budget, or at least fill out a comment card, it's 3 minutes per individual for card that's filled out, and we'd like you to fill out a card if you have anything. And if you don't, you're still welcome to raise your hand and introduce yourself. If you don't have to fill out a card if you don't feel comfortable in doing that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Karen, and then we'll get started with a 10-minute video, and then we'll open it up for any questions. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Sal. Just a couple of opening remarks. Of course, I am Karen Peters, and I'm here on behalf of the city manager. I did want to introduce, we do have an interpreter with us this evening. Would you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Judy. Buenas noches. Me llamo Judy. Si alguien necesita intérprete, por favor vengan conmigo.
So if anyone requires translation, she's here to help you out. This is one of 12 budget hearings that will be conducted starting this morning, citywide. This is a regular part of our budget process. We do it every year to get feedback from the community. It is being taped and will be available on the city's Phoenix 11 YouTube channel. So please use the microphone. That's really why the microphone is essential. Thank you. We're taking minutes back there, and the minutes of this meeting will be distributed to all the council members. We will have a video. If you want to speak, please fill out a card, as Sal indicated. There's detailed information, if you didn't get a chance to pick that up, in the tabloid that is on the desk there before you come sit. And it has a lot of good information about the proposed budget. So with that, I am ready to start the video.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of a dozen hearings on the City Manager's 2015-16 trial budget. Input from our residents is so important and helps shape what will end up being the final budget for the next fiscal year. The final budget is important because it provides the plan for how the city will spend taxpayer money and how services that you depend on could be impacted.
I'm really pleased with this trial budget because it represents a year of really hard work. Leadership by the mayor and council to make some tough decisions, our employees who took concessions and have worked hard to save money, and our partnership with our residents to bring a balanced budget for 2015-16.
Why is a balanced budget important? It's required by state law and city charter. In this budget, there will be no cuts to the city services that you count on every day.
I think it's important with this budget to know that we brought it into balance without cutting any services, and we can actually add some very important things for the community.
Even with state fiscal actions negatively impacting Phoenix costs and revenue, and with the sunset of the emergency sales tax on food on March 31st, the budget is balanced and important additions are being made thanks to the hard work of everyone.
The funding for the city budget comes from different sources. It's not all coming from one place, and it's divided into three main areas: the general fund, enterprise funds, and special revenue funds.
Examples of general fund city departments include police, fire, the library, parks and recreation, and streets. Enterprise fund departments include aviation, water services, solid waste services, and the convention center. Special revenue funds account for designated sources of money for a specific purpose, like sales tax dollars for the hiring of police officers and firefighters, and funds for public transit.
So when you look at all of those areas together, that's really the diverse mix of all the things that makes up our city budget.
The mayor and city council took action early on, leading us to a balanced budget. That includes eliminating 162 full-time general fund vacant positions last December. For a second year, additional employee compensation concessions at just under 1%. And over the last several years, the city has eliminated nearly 100 management positions and cut overtime costs by more than 50%. The efficiency efforts by city staff have been remarkable. The city is less than $2 million away from reaching its 2015 savings goal of $100 million over the past 5 years. The mayor and city council have also led reforms of the civilian pension system. In total, we can expect to see a savings of around $830 million over 2 decades, thanks to the actions already taken by the mayor and city council, along with the city pension board and voters. This will have a positive long-term impact on the budget, although there is still more work to be done. In addition, the zero-based budget review process, looking at every program, has led to $1.2 million in savings for 2015-16. Every line item in the budget was scrutinized, which allows the city to find ways to save. Among the savings, $600,000 by closing 2 courtrooms where the number of cases has dropped considerably. $225,000 saved in the finance department by relying more on technology and reducing postage costs for mailing monthly statements. $200,000 in street transportation by analyzing signage and determining which road signs are unnecessary to install, maintain, or produce. These are just a few of many ways that staff has found to improve efficiency. To see the full list of savings, check out the budget summary packet provided at these budget hearings and is also available on phoenix.gov. One of the biggest challenges the city faces this year has to do with what's happening at the state level. In an effort to balance its budget, the state has shifted costs and reduced revenue to cities like Phoenix. That has led to a $6.3 million negative impact on the city, which in turn eliminated a $4.3 million surplus, which would have been used to address important city needs. This created a $2 million deficit. To balance it out, here's what the trial budget suggests. holding off on replacing some older city vehicles and equipment, along with slowing the growth of the city's contingency fund, which is still at its highest level in city history. Here's a look at the new services proposed in the trial budget. First, let's look at the general fund. The budget adds $14,000 for implementing full-time recreation at the county-provided Kofelt Rec Center. It's located at 19th Avenue in Buckeye. That means the existing rec center will be filled with kids year-round. In the area of innovation, the budget adds a business analyst to begin preparations for Phoenix 311, which would provide a centralized information center, as well as identifying technology needed to implement a unified municipal services card. And many residents feel that protecting the public should be the city's top priority. That's why public safety amounts to 71% of the general fund in this trial budget. This budget adds an additional $2 million for 40 hours of police officer training for every officer. Now to dedicated public safety special revenue funds. Due to the fact that these funds will be balanced next year, the budget includes the hiring of 110 police officers in 2015-16, which will increase the size of the police force from where it is today. The council also approved a plan to hire 90 firefighters next fiscal year after hiring approximately 75 this year. Now let's look at dedicated Phoenix Parks and Preserves Initiatives funds. Those funds would provide maintenance for 3 new desert preserve trailheads, creating more opportunities for residents to enjoy our preserved trails. From the Development Services Funds, which is paid for by building permit and inspection fees, is this proposal, making for a better customer experience in planning and development services with improved technology and training and more staff to enhance the electronic plan review section and the front counter service. Now to dedicated transit funds. The light rail is seeing more riders now than ever before. The proposed budget would fund rail operations for the new Northwest extension to 19th Avenue and Dunlap. Out of dedicated aviation enterprise funds comes an important improvement at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. It's one of the 10 busiest in the nation. The trial budget calls for the addition of a dedicated team at the airport to analyze noise impacts of flight activity, assess any proposed changes by the FAA, and to reach out to the community to solicit feedback and exchange information. Out of the solid waste special enterprise funds, the trial budget calls for operating a composting facility which will divert several tons of green waste per week from the landfill. That facility is scheduled to open next year. But the list of community needs continues. Among them, police body cameras, addressing homelessness, restoring library hours, after-school programs, support for arts programs, park maintenance, and street maintenance and street landscaping. Any budget requires trade-offs, and street landscaping is an example of that. It is important to keep our city beautiful and safe by making sure trees and shrubs along the roadways are maintained. Right now, that happens when residents make a report, but that could soon change. The council will soon vote on whether to bid for the service, which means the roadways would be regularly maintained 3 times a year. Although funding is not currently available to increase this service, the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee is evaluating additional options which would increase the frequency of street landscaping service with added costs estimated to range from $1.5 to $6 million. Additional funding sources would need to be identified.
So the 2015-16 trial budget is really good news. We've balanced the budget with no cuts to services, and in fact, we've added some things that are important to the community. But we always want to be looking ahead, and so we have a 5-year plan. We forecast ahead, and we see that we have some issues to deal with after this year.
One of the biggest challenges to the general fund, public safety pension costs. Much work has been done on the civilian side, controlled by the city, but the state-controlled system still faces challenges. This trial budget assumes phasing in added public safety pension costs over the next 3 years, allowing city services to be preserved. Also, revenue growth will be affected by actions taken by the state on income and sales taxes. The city is planning ahead on both of these issues and will work hard to address them over the next 12 months. Keep in mind, the budget hasn't been adopted just yet. Your input is important, and the City of Phoenix wants to hear from you on what the upcoming budget should look like. 12 public hearings will take place this month across all council districts, and you are encouraged to attend. You can also send your comments or questions to budget.research@phoenix.gov, or to reach out to us by phone, call 602-262-4800. You can also comment on social media by using #PhoenixBudget. Thank you for being part of a very important process. The City of Phoenix is committed to its mission of improving the quality of life in Phoenix through the efficient delivery of outstanding public services.
For the new arrivals, if you'd be willing to fill out a card, if you have anything to say, if you want to add your comments on the budget, that would be great. Right now, we only have one card, and Greta, that's yours. And then for those of you that would like to say something a little later, you're welcome to do that. We'll just need you to give us your name, address, and whatever information we require.
And please speak into the mic that's over here. Thank you.
The table. Okay. Is this good for you, Greta? Huh? Is this good enough? Lower?
I think it's okay. A little, it could be up a little. I'm not quite that short. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. And thank you, all the citizens who have come. I wish I could see more of you here. There are more staff here than there are us. But my name is Greta Rogers, and I've lived in Ahwatukee now for 27 years, over 3 different moves back and forth between Tempe and here. I've been very active with the city in voluntary capacity by request, and also at city council meetings and subcommittee meetings. The city is my city as it is your city, and I'm a practicing citizen. I would like to bring to your attention one thing that was in the paper last March 24th, just a week ago, and this says pension sticker shock. What it's referring to is the public safety retirement pension system, which is operated by the state, to which the police and fire are members of, and also all council members in the state are members of it. They're showing next year, this next fiscal year, a $6 million shortfall in this fund. That hasn't been addressed by the city, and rightfully so, because even though the city pays into it, they have to, it isn't directly part of their budget, but indirectly it is. On the budget, I want to commend Mario Paniagua, who is the Director of Budget and Research. And I don't know that the city is truly appreciative of the extraordinary value and intelligence that this man brings to a very complex subject. He's 5-star, and God help us when we lose him, because we'll need God to help us. These diagrams that I have, I received because I attended a council hearing on this general subject. The sum and substance is they're structurally balanced, which means you do a little bit here and you add a little bit here and then you do this. You trade off. We're not totally accountingly balanced, but it satisfies the state requirement. The city looks to be 31 million in the shorts next year. And that's because of pension costs, allegedly. We're going to be asked to vote on a ballot issue in August, 31.7 billion, that's with a B, dollars, for 35 years. It's called the transit tax. It's largely to put a light rail line from Jefferson to Baseline down Central, the most expensive form of public transportation any city can build. We have buses to South Phoenix, very adequate, more than adequate, on north-south arterials and all east-west arterials, and I've witnessed and seen them myself. I urge all of you who are here, and in speaking with your friends and neighbors, to urge defeat of this issue. Part of the issue is for public safety, and the mayor and the council did that because it's politically heartstring pulling, probably will get passage. And part of it, less than 5%, is for streets improvements. The infrastructure of our streets is in dreadful condition. It needs major, major improvement, reconstruction. And 5% isn't going to handle it. And the percentage for the public safety isn't going to take care of them totally either. We are still paying on two public safety issues. One we passed in '93 for 1/10 of a cent, for 2/10 of a cent, excuse me. And it's in perpetuity. We did another one in '07 for 1/10 of a cent. This is on city sales tax in perpetuity. This is a 35-year deal, which goes to 2055, 7/10 of a cent. So the 1 cent that we knocked off yesterday from the food tax will be regenerated if you pass this. Don't pass it. Make them come back with a transit tax ballot issue for transit tax, and a separate issue that they can support with facts and figures for public safety.
Ms. Rogers.
Separate ballot issue. Don't mix them up. Oil and water don't mix.
Thank you.
Be astute and be educated, because you're being shown fog and mirrors.
Thank you, Greta.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rogers. And then I know others may have had a chance to not fill out a card, or didn't have a chance to fill out a card. Is there anybody else that would like to say anything regarding the budget? We've got library here, we've got citizens from all over. Nathan, you're new. Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, we'll end the meeting then. But well, I do. But let me, if you don't mind, Karen. I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I do want to thank staff for coming out. Really much appreciate the time that you took to come out today to this area of the city. My district's going to have 2 budget hearings. We've got the next one on April 15th, I think it is. Is it the 15th? Which is coincidentally, it's interesting. Today is the day that essentially the food tax goes away. And then on April 15th is the next one we're going to have, which is the day that we have to turn in our federal taxes. So interesting, at least, coincidental at the very least. But thank you for coming out. I'm going to turn this back over to Karen, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I just want to echo Sal's thanks for all of your time this evening, and remind you that there are another 8 budget hearings citywide happening. We've actually had 4 of them today. So please express your opinion. You can do that online as well as the video indicated. The proposed budget, after we receive input from the community, will be presented to council on May 5th after the conclusion of these meetings. So thank you. We very much value your input. and have a wonderful evening.
You've been watching a community budget hearing held recently in Phoenix. For questions, comments, or ideas, please visit phoenix.gov or call 602-262-4800. You can also send feedback or videos through social media at #PhoenixBudget. This video can also be seen online at phoenix.gov/11 or youtube.com/City of Phoenix AZ.